comes down to one thing, making the plays when they're there.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
Let me get to Mark Andrews, where my camera at. He's one of the best tight ends of his era. He had 4 drops all year, 2 in this game, and he had that costly fumble. Just hold your head up, man, because I saw him on the sideline. He was beating himself up. But I want to talk about Josh Allen. And there's certain things that I noticed because we've played the game. And their last drive, when they settled for that field goal to extend their lead, there was a play where they called a QB run. And Josh Allen, for a second, got stood up. And his eyes got big, and he thought about pitching the ball back to his running back. He did not. And I know it's a small play. It will not go down in the stat line. But for me, that is a representation of Josh Allen's growth. Oh, sure. You know, early on in his career, we all said it here to say, well, no.
Yes.
Don't pitch that ball back. But years ago, he would because he was such a playmaker and he wanted to make the big play in every big moment. But this year, you've seen the discernment and taking care of the ball. I just feel like he's repeating the phrase in his head. It's the plays that you don't make that could win you the game. Because we know he's dominant. And when he wants to put the cape on, he could become Superman at any moment. He really played a flawless game, even if the numbers and the statistics don't jump out at you. So congratulations to Josh. Congrats to the Bills, well-deserved. And congratulations to Bills Mafia. Yeah. I know I joke about, their fan base and I pick against them, but they are one fan group that I would love to see win a freaking Super Bowl because they deserve it. Hopefully they get rid of that black cloud from the 90s.
And, when you talk about stats, we watched last night the Detroit Lions have over 500 yards of offense against a Washington team that didn't. What was the difference? Turnovers.
Yeah.
And you get into the playoffs, so those are the things that you really become a determining factor. That and in the red zone, being able to finish drives. And early in this game, Buffalo went down there, 3 for 3 in the red zone, 21 points they put up there. We saw Baltimore have to settle for a field goal there. Again, above all of that, Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens go 88 yards with with 2 minutes to go in this game and have an opportunity to tie that football game. A lot to them. But again, there's something with this football team. We talked about it before. There's a looseness with them. There's a calmness with them. It starts with Sean McDermott, permeates down through Josh Allen. And this whole football team has a belief. And they're kind of like, you know what? Tell us what we can't do. Yeah. And we're going to show you what we're going to do.
Keep betting again.
Yeah. So, man. Before I get started, I just want to say, shout out to Lamar Jackson. After that game, he had an ear-to-ear smile when he went up to Josh Allen. I mean, just an ear-to-ear smile. And it was genuine. It was genuine. It was like, that's why you got to love Lamar. That's why I call out people who want to try to troll Lamar or why I push back with, all the things that, Nick Wright has said about him and stuff like that, because it's just that's a man. That is a stand-up person right there. He could have sulked his head. He could have just been he just had a big smile and gave, the high five and the hug to Josh Allen. And it's just I respect that so much. I respect that. Heck, even Tom Brady, put his head down and walked away, didn't shake Nick Foles' hand or whatever. So I just think Lamar deserves all that credit. And in a way, if the Baltimore Ravens were going to lose, this was the way to do it. Because you get to now have the what if. What if Mark Andrews catches that ball? What if? Obviously, if you're a Ravens fan, you don't want to lose at all. But considering that they were down Zay Flowers, then Bateman has to go out. You have these turnovers, and some of these are free. What was that? Mark Andrews' second turnover, a second fumble in his career. I'm so confused. That went by so fast. I don't know. Was his second playoff career fumble or just second fumble in his entire career? Hasn't had a fumble since 2019, and it was a great punch out by the Bills defense. But it's that's the type of stuff that kind of feels fluky. And the fumble, even on Lamar. That's going to happen when Lamar holds on to the ball and does those things, which is what makes him special. You're going to have some of those turnovers. I just embed that into the player that Lamar is. Same thing that I embed, interceptions in certain, quarterbacks that just let it rip all the time. It's just part of it. And it's frustrating when it happens in big moments, of course. But I'm just not oh, that was Lamar. He was so loose with the ball. It's no, that's just part of Lamar's game, and it just is such a bummer that it happens in this moment. The interception, that was awful. That was I don't know what you're doing. That I can't necessarily defend. I could defend just a bad throw because it's just bad throws happen. It was just bad luck that you made a bad throw in that moment. That was just, I still am not really entirely sure what it was. We could try to be oh, well, he was kind of rushed because of the pass rush. No, that was just a bad throw. That was just a bad throw, a bad decision, just kind of bad everything. But Lamar played great. I mean, they were still in a position to win this game. I mean, they outplayed the Buffalo Bills. They had 416 total yards. The Buffalo Bills only had 273. The Buffalo Bills had 4.6 yards per play. The Baltimore Ravens had 7.3. They were 7 for 10 on third down, 1 for 1 on fourth, 2 for 3 in the red zone. I mean, Henry was eating 16 carries for 84 yards, 5.3 yards per carry. Hill, 6 carries for 50 yards, 8.3 yards per carry. Lamar Jackson was 6 carries for 39 yards, 18 for 25, 254 yards, 10.2 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and a 114 rating. I mean, like, this is a tough one. And then obviously the drop pass to Derrick Henry, and then the drop from Mark Andrews. I mean, like, it's gut wrenching. It's absolutely gut wrenching. It's just, on one side, it's one of the worst ways to lose. On the other side, it feels like it's almost kind of one of the best ways. Just like how no one in their right mind should blame Josh Allen for that 13-second game. Nobody can blame Lamar Jackson in this game. I know they're going to try to with the turnovers. I get it. But he put them back in a position to tie that game up. He did his job. His team failed him. Just like how I said before that the Buffalo Bills have failed Josh Allen, the Baltimore Ravens failed Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is allowed to have some mistakes. He's allowed to turn the ball over. He's allowed to have some bad plays. And that's what I always reference Patrick Mahomes. The dude has thrown 5 interceptions in 4 Super Bowls and yet has won 3 Super Bowls. It's a team sport. You need your team to step up. I think Lamar Jackson played awesome. And the Ravens themselves, like, they didn't play bad. They actually played really great ball with just 3 bad plays. Maybe 4 if you count, like, the drop pass. Right? The 3 turnovers and then the drop 2-point conversion. Now, to be fair, the way how this game was unfolding, it did feel like, and you never know. But Buffalo Bills had time on their side and they had timeouts. So it's not hard to imagine, especially because you got Lamar Jackson. I know you want to believe, no, we would have stopped them, gone to overtime, but you really don't know. It felt like, to me personally, that the Buffalo Bills would have been able to march down the field. But you don't know. You really don't know. You could have forced a 3 and out. You could have had an interception, a fumble. I mean, you don't know. You don't. But yeah, in some weird way, I'm watching that game and I'm like, if the Baltimore Ravens lose here, I really hope that Lamar Jackson still leads them down for a touchdown, or even at least a 2-point conversion, and then the Bills, kick a field goal or whatever to win, because then nobody could blame Lamar Jackson. That was my biggest fear about this game. Whoever loses, they're just going to pounce on, because we got a bunch of crazy people out there in the media, the fans, everyone. People just want to feast and rip people down. You can't rip Lamar Jackson for this game. Was he 100% flawless? Absolutely not. But Josh Allen has won games being not flawless. Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Peyton Manning. I mean, Brett Favre, all of these quarterbacks. That's why I never try to 100% isolate mistakes, especially when you make unbelievable plays. Did Lamar Jackson need to be a little bit better? If he was 5% better, do they win the game? Yeah, they do. And that's the thing that you kind of have to try to wrestle with. Why is it sometimes a quarterback can make mistakes and still win, and other times he makes mistakes, but then we blame them? And I still try to figure that out too. I try to figure out, well, did the good outweigh the bad? And it's not always just about maybe sometimes making those moves, because sometimes the quarterback still wins, makes mistakes, and yeah, that quarterback made some plays, again, whether it's Mahomes, Brady, whoever, and I'm still kind of like, well, they were fortunate to win this game. They were fortunate. Because on one side, I'm like, Josh Allen didn't make any mistakes, and he didn't. He did play, a flawless game, relatively speaking. He didn't play a great game, but it was technically, theoretically, flawless. But do I think, like, well, he deserved to win? Like, it's a tough one. And that's where we get into those tricky words of, like, who deserved to win this game. And that's why I try to always figure that out. I don't just go by the end of the game. I don't just go, well, the Bills won. They found a way to win. They're the better team. That's not how I work. It's not how I work. And this is what I always kind of had that conversation with Baltimore Ravens fans going into a lot of the games this season, where the winner doesn't automatically mean that you're the better quarterback. Because here we have Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills, just beat the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson, and you're not just going to go ahead and say, see, Josh Allen's clearly better than Lamar. That's not the conclusion from this game either. So, it's a tough one, man. I honestly feel, I always knew this game was going to be uncomfortable for me to watch because I want to see both these quarterbacks succeed. I do want the kumbaya where it's like, can't both these teams just move on to the next round? Can't they both just win a Super Bowl and be co-MVPs together? You know, it's like I get that sentiment. It's both the benefit and the burden of being more of like a general fan and just enjoying to watch all of these things. Which is why earlier on in the season, like it was fun at first to be like, oh, who's better, Josh or Lamar? And then as we continue that conversation, I was like, I don't actually like this. I don't like this back and forth, this conversation. These are two quarterbacks that clearly deserve to have like MVPs, Hall of Fame careers, Pro Bowls, All Pros, Super Bowl MVPs. I mean, they both these quarterbacks deserve to have all the accolades. They do. They deserve to have a laundry list of achievements. And it's what sports is, man. It's what sports is. I mean, 3 bad plays. 4 if you count the drop pass. And that's it. That's the game. You can almost double. I mean, just 273 yards from the Bills to 416 for the Ravens. 7.3 yards per play. 4.6 to the Bills. 3 turnovers, multiple penalties. The Buffalo Bills had 1 penalty, 0 turnovers. And they win 27-25. I feel for you Baltimore Ravens fans. I really, 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 really do. If there's one key takeaway, I think anyone who doubts the specialness of Lamar Jackson is just delusional, a fanboy of this quarterback or that quarterback, or just a hater. Lamar Jackson is special. The Baltimore Ravens need to go all in. I don't know what that necessarily means or what that's necessarily going to look like. But Lamar Jackson is a multi-time Super Bowl winning caliber quarterback. He is truly an all-time great. Josh Allen said it himself at the end of the game. He's one of the greatest to ever do it. Lamar Jackson, although did not play a perfect game, his team did not step up around him. And we can constantly try to put all the heroics on individual quarterbacks, all we want. But Lamar Jackson was putting the Ravens in a position to be the hero, to win that game, to do what needed to be done. And, he didn't do himself any favors, but his team did not help him. And I don't know. I'm going to have more thoughts. I might even change my thoughts from now till tomorrow, honestly, because I'm still processing all this, because this is gut-wrenching. I genuinely feel bad. I can't wait to see what the conversations are going to be like tomorrow. And then again, I think if you were going to lose this game, in a weird way, this was the best way to lose, because just no one could say Lamar Jackson chokes and Lamar Jackson this and Lamar Jackson that. Well, I'm sure Nick Wright will try to say that, and it will be foul play. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What did you guys all think about this game? Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens coming up short, 27-5 to the Buffalo Bills. Let me know in the comments below. How do you think this game was lost? Where do you put the blame? Let me know. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.